We're back for the final half of our Dragon Ball bodybuilding competition. If you haven't seen round 1, make sure to check it out before jumping into this video. Link in the description below. The tournament is down to your top 8 competitors, and they are as follows: Jiren, Tien, Master Roshi, Kale, Broly, Gohan, Vegeta, and Goku. Remember, we're judging based off open bodybuilding rules, primarily focusing on muscle mass, proportions, symmetry, and conditioning. And with me as always is our second judge, Yamcha. So remember, if you don't like the judging, blame him. And of course, our guest tiebreaker judge, King Kai, may return should we need his wisdom. So now, without further ado, let's jump into our first match of round 2. Jiren versus Tien. Jiren has an incredible amount of muscle mass, and like we mentioned in round 1, he stands around 6'4", and I would estimate his weight to be around 300 to 350 pounds. On top of this, he has a great V-taper, which is that shoulder to waist ratio. The thing that he is lacking, however, is a good pair of wheels, meaning legs. He clearly skips leg day. And that's unfortunate because his upper body is nearly unbeatable. I'll go into more details in the next rounds on Tien's physique, but he is much more proportional than Jiren while still having a good amount of muscle mass, and for that reason, I'm declaring that Tien is the winner. Next up, we have Master Roshi versus Kale in her full powered form. Master Roshi clearly has the muscle mass to be a great bodybuilder, and as we saw in the last round, he has the shape as well. Unlike Jiren, Roshi actually has great legs to match his upper body. Having said this, his major setback are his proportions. Unfortunately, his shoulders and arms totally dominate his torso, and that throws his physique off a bit. Kale, on the other hand, has great muscle mass and better proportions than Master Roshi. On top of this, she is very symmetrical and well conditioned. I do think that in her full power form, her arms dominate a bit much, but in general, she has a better physique for open bodybuilding than Master Roshi because of his proportions, meaning that she is the winner of this round. Next up is full-powered Broly versus Gohan. Broly obviously has a size much more suited for bodybuilding than Gohan, and on top of the size, he has the proportions as well, which was what Master Roshi was lacking. Now, Gohan has an amazing physique. He has the symmetry and the conditioning down as well as the proportions. However, he just doesn't have the size, no matter what form he's in. He would be much better suited for men's physique or even classic physique, and I think he would dominate in those categories. But for open bodybuilding, I'm declaring Broly as the victor of this round. And finally, to finish off round 2, we have an epic matchup between Vegeta and Goku. No matter what these two are competing in, they always keep it competitive. Vegeta has amazing proportions, symmetry, and conditioning. The only thing that I notice is that at certain angles he seems to have shorter clavicles, which actually doesn't seem to be a major issue. One of the best bodybuilders of our time and former Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath, actually has shorter clavicles as well. When analyzing Goku's physique, there honestly seems to be very little flaws. He has the size, especially in his Kaioken and early Super Saiyan forms. He actually has noticeably longer clavicles than Vegeta, which gives his chest a much more full and broad look. On top of this, he seems to outmuscle Vegeta just a hair, and for that reason, I have to give Goku the win. Sorry, Vegeta, still one step behind. And there you have it, folks. That's the end of round 2. It was certainly a battle with some tight decisions, but you haven't seen anything yet. I have to say the next few matchups are going to be extremely difficult to judge. In fact, anyone that's made it this far could be an elite bodybuilder, no doubt in my mind. Moving on to round 3, which is the semifinals. Our semifinals start with Tien versus Kale. Tien is one of the most well-proportioned characters that we have in this tournament. His shoulders and arms match his chest perfectly. Not to mention, he has a great V-taper on top of it. Kale has some of the best muscle mass we've seen, and it's also very well proportioned. Her legs and arms match each other very well. She also has a smaller waist, which gives her a very aesthetically pleasing look. This is a damn near equal matchup. The only thing that I can see is that Kale's arms might actually just be a bit too big. And we could take a look at her less bulky forms, but at that point, she's just best suited for physique and not open bodybuilding. This is such a tight race, I'm gonna have to pass it over to our tiebreaker judge. King Kai, what do you think?
They were delicious.
No, I mean about Tien versus Kale.
Oh, yes. Well, this is a tough one for sure. Based on looks alone, I'm like Roshi, I'm kind of partial to Kale. But based on bodybuilding alone, I'm gonna have to go with Tien.
Well, a little creepy, but all right. We have our first finalist, Tien. Now, onto the highly anticipated matchup between full power Broly and Goku. This is gonna be another tough one, folks. Broly has a nearly perfect physique for bodybuilding. He has the muscle mass, he has the symmetry, he has the proportions. In fact, that's what separated him from all the other big guys in the tournament, being Master Roshi and Nappa. Broly maintains a great V-taper on top of the proportions of his lower body matching his upper body. But how do we compare this to Goku, who has a nearly perfect physique? Obviously with Goku it depends on what form that he's in, but in my opinion he's just way too out-muscled. The only forms that really compare are his Kaioken and Super Saiyan forms from Namek. We could also look at his Super Saiyan Grade 2 forms, but that form, as we've seen with future Trunks, has its limitations with proportions being thrown off. So when looking at Kaioken and Super Saiyan, Goku looks absolutely phenomenal. He has great muscle mass along with symmetry, proportions, and conditioning. In my personal opinion, I'd rather look like Goku. I'd rather have his physique. However, I believe Broly has a slightly better open bodybuilding physique. Goku has more of a classic physique type of look to me. And in that sort of competition, Goku would hands down probably win against all other Dragon Ball Z characters. But for open bodybuilding, I have to give this victory to Broly. And there you have it, folks. We have our two finalists, Broly versus Tien. Now before we get into our final matchup, I promised I would give a shout out to our honorable mentions, so here they are. These are characters from the Dragon Ball universe that I believe could have competed in this competition, but didn't quite match up to my original criteria. Here they are: Android 14, Garlic Jr. in his full-powered form, Mr. Satan, Omega Shenron, and Zeno. And now it's time for the main event of the evening! On one side, we have wearing green sometimes, the underdog Tien. And on the other side, we have full power Broly whose hair turns green sometimes. Who will win? Let's find out. Now, Tien has come a long way from when we first met him in the original Dragon Ball series. It's safe to say that he has gained a significant amount of muscle mass. On top of this, his proportions are on point. He has a perfect pectoral shelf, meaning that his pecs and shoulders stretch wide and are full with depth. His shoulders are massive, but they don't overpower his arms. His traps are big, but not too big, creating a great flow from his neck. From there, he has a great V-taper down the torso with strong lats and amazing abs. On top of this, he's very well conditioned with feathering and vascularity all over. Now, moving on to full power Broly, and in case you were wondering, I've been using the Broly from Super, but I've compared his physique with the legendary Super Saiyan form from the original movies, and I actually believe it's a touch better in Super. He seems to be just a bit more vascular and conditioned here. On top of this, he has the legit perfect proportions for open bodybuilding with an amazing pectoral shelf and a great V-taper. We also get glimpses of his legs, and they're very symmetrical and proportioned with his upper body. This is an extremely close race, but in the end, I have to declare that the winner of the Dragon Ball Mr. Olympia bodybuilding competition is Full Power Broly! This guy has a near perfect open bodybuilding physique, and while Tien is up there as well, it's Broly's thickness and muscle density that gives him the slight edge for me. Also, remember, if you don't like these results, it's Yamcha's fault. Well folks, that concludes our competition for today. What did you think? Do you agree with the results? Let us know in the comments down below. King Kai, any final statements?
Wow, that Broly guy is totally jacked. It doesn't surprise me that he won. I've got to get Goku back on training even harder now. Also, do you have any more of those tacos left over?
I told you after the show. Hold on, we're almost finished.
Oh no, I know you didn't just tell me to hold on.
Hey, just settle down now, King Kai. It's okay, just settle
Oh
down.
no, now you've done it. You know who I am. I own a planet, for crying out loud.
Okay, well that's all for today, folks. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell
I'm about to come across this table.
so you don't miss the next video. Bye!
Hey, you come back here. Yamcha, go get his ass.